the conflict in Ukraine. Zelensky spoke at the conference and he sort of repeated the same script that we've heard from him many times before. He even allowed himself an ad hominem attack at PM Orban. What's truly shocking is that amid these discussions of European security that lasted for a couple of days, the EU still has no peace plan grounded in reality, grounded in the actual realities on the ground. And on the contrary, as you mentioned in the very beginning of this program, Denmark's PM wants NATO to reject red lines and she demands deep strikes into Russia. So we're still in the same spot that we were several years ago. What does this year's Munich Security Conference and the political elites commentary, what does all of this mean for the conflict in Ukraine, in your opinion?
Well, yeah, Zelensky, I smile when I watch him. You know, Zelensky is an actor. And just recently, just for fun of it, I watched his Quartal 95 comedy show. It's available. He speaks perfect Russian. And one of the jokes on that program was that Zelensky had to learn two foreign languages, one English, the other Ukrainian, because both are foreign. Anyway, he's an actor. He loves, I know he enjoys all these meetings and handshakes and sitting with the powerful leaders of Europe and America. And he just absolutely loves it. But the result is that what he says, give us this, give us this, give us this, defend us, we're the champions, we're the front against the Russians, give us more money, give us more reconstruction, give us, give us, give us, give us. And the result is, what do they give him? They're giving him 15 billion per year, this year, and 15 billion next year. And then there's some other programs to support his regime here and there. Now, how much of that would be stolen, we don't know, because a lot is being stolen all the time. But that's not enough. To sustain Ukraine, I believe I read somewhere, needs 10 billion a month for all its purposes. Now, 15 a year is nothing. So the United States is not going to spend any more money on it. But this is the only positive for the Russian point of view of Trump's administration, is that it's no longer pouring billions into it. And so it's just not a question of when, of whether, it's a question of when Ukraine will surrender. Now, what is the most stupid thing for Zelensky to do is to do what he's doing. Because today he still has a chance to save two-thirds of Ukraine in a more or less sort of independent status, in a sense that it's not occupied by the Russians, in a sense that it still has a chance eventually to join the European Union. All he has to do is to sign no NATO, no foreign troops, restore Russian language and Russian and church rights. That's it. If he signs that, okay, you're fine, but he doesn't want to. And why doesn't he want to? He doesn't want to because he's afraid of the nationalists. And I mentioned it in my previous video that there was a conference of Banderovites, which is called 13th Annual Bandera Readings. And it had all these speeches of how they hate the Russians and how they will not yield an inch. And one of the most damaging things, or I would say dangerous or disturbing, was when you read the speeches about de-Russification. And that's what they want to do with the Russian population in Donbass if they ever were to conquer it. It's basically ethnic cleansing, and they're saying it openly. In other words, Zelensky is afraid that if he agrees to surrender of anything to the Russians, he will be removed. And they would put in power somebody who is willing to fight to the end, to the last Ukrainian. They don't care. Just like Hitler didn't care how many Hitlerjugend would die in defending his Reich, he didn't care that as long as he could preserve himself and his regime, until the bitter end that he had to commit suicide. Well, Zelensky is similar. He is afraid to admit defeat, because as Aristovich put it, this is his former collaborator and now a critic, he said that if he does that, then immediately the question would, why didn't you do it earlier? What for did we lose 1 million Ukrainians if we have to sign it now? We could have done it in 2022 and kept Donbass as part of Ukraine. So what the Europeans are doing is making it more difficult. In fact, they're ruining Ukraine. By encouraging Ukraine to fight, they are actually destroying Ukraine. The only thing that Ukraine needs now is to agree to peace right now. But they're not doing it, and by not doing it, they're dooming Ukraine to full destruction and unconditional surrender. Moreover, and again, I made a video of it, we can talk about it again. There's opposition in Russia too. There are more and more people openly saying, in supposedly dictatorial system of Putin, that that's not good enough. The 4 provinces are not good enough. We have there's almost 150,000 Russian soldiers died, not in order for the rest of Ukraine to join EU, which is inseparably different, not different at all from NATO. So they're saying, no, 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 no. We have to have Odessa, we have to have a Kharkov, that's the minimum. And the rest of Ukraine has to be a neutral, and we have to be sure that it would never join NATO and there'd be no French troops there. So this is what the stakes are now higher. And it would be difficult even for Putin to enforce sort of limited goals, which the Europeans call maximalist. They're not maximalist. Maximalist is total surrender of Zelensky regime and denazification, meaning that all these Banderovites go to jail. So that's where we are. Zelensky's celebrating his wonderful time with all these world leaders who keep encouraging to fight, but the fight is actually ruining Ukraine and Ukrainian people. And that's very sad, because in the end, I wish that Ukraine and Russia live in peace as two brothers could.